We've been discussing the signs of hearing loss with Candace Fischer from Fischer Hearing, and now we're expanding on this information by talking about the next steps. Candace, now what do we do if hearing loss is identified?
Well, the first thing we want to do is make sure that we're talking a little bit more about it. If the hearing loss is medical, we want to make sure we refer on because there's often treatment or further investigation needed. If not, if it's sensory nerve damage, we've only got a couple of options. We've got cochlear implants, which isn't going to be most of us, and treating that condition with hearing aids.
Absolutely. And why is it so important to treat hearing loss? And what are some of those consequences that can come about if you don't treat it?
Yeah, great question. Untreated hearing loss is one of the biggest risks of dementia. So somebody with even a very mild hearing loss, which is a lot of us, especially, age 50, 60 and over, that doubles the risk of possibly getting dementia. Moderate hearing loss triples the risk, and severe hearing loss, you can have up to 5 times the risk of developing dementia. So, it's another health concern and a health condition. We need to treat it appropriately.
Absolutely, you do. Very important. And it doesn't even stop there. What are maybe some of those other effects that can come upon you if you don't treat it?
Yeah, there's so many. Hearing loss, unfortunately, it just affects so many things. Obviously, having people being able to hear better and understand better is the most important, but untreated hearing loss leads to depression, to social isolation, to decline. Everything that affects the brain can affect us. So when we can't hear properly and engage in different situations, often we can start to avoid them, and we don't want that to happen.
For sure. And why does hearing loss have some of these very negative effects?
Well, untreated hearing loss, so if we're not using the brain, that brain likes to be stimulated, and untreated hearing loss, we lose some of that stimulation, and it can lead to quicker atrophy of the brain. So that, of course, is a bad thing. We want to keep that brain stimulated. And, most of the research coming out now, they always say, if there is hearing loss identified, you need to treat that condition. There is no negative to wearing hearing aids, only positive benefits. So we need to keep that brain stimulated and people out and engaged as much as we possibly can.
Right. And let's maybe talk a little bit about how experiencing hearing loss can kind of keep people from going out socially and experiencing those positive feelings.
Yeah, like most of us. When something becomes more difficult, when you and I are sitting here in a quiet room and it's easy to talk, that's great. I'm going to keep doing that. But when we try and do this down at coffee in the condo or happy hour or lunch with the girls that you always used to enjoy, we start to avoid those situations, and that's not good. We really, really do want to be engaged. It's good for the brain. It's good for all of us.
For sure it is. And before we wrap things up here, Candace, what is the most important message that you want to get across here today?
Well, if you suspect hearing loss, the very first thing, of course, get your hearing tested. And if hearing loss is identified, remember, there is no negative to treating that. There is not a negative to wearing hearing aids, only positive. So hearing care is health care.
Yes, for sure it is. Candace, thank you so much. As always, it was a pleasure to chat with you this morning.
Thanks, Janelle.